and welcome to my first podcast of The Obvious Ninja. My name is Ashley Barco, and I am certified to kick your butt because I have my first degree black belt in Tae Kwon Do. Yay! It took a little while, but that's okay, because here I am with my first podcast, and I want to clear the waters, so to speak, about what Tae Kwon Do really is and what it has to offer to anybody who wants to take it. Well, for starters, whenever someone asks what Tae Kwon Do is, or that I say I'm in Tae Kwon Do, they automatically assume, oh, that's like karate, isn't it? Well, every time someone says that, I want to karate chop your face in because it is not like karate. Hence, karate is a different name. Tae Kwon Do is a different name. It's going to be a different martial art. To start off, karate is a Japanese-based sport versus Tae Kwon Do is actually a South Korean sport that originated about 1,300 years ago. And it's so significant to those South Koreans that it actually unified their three kingdoms that were all broken up at the time. So it's pretty important to them. Actually, when you're even saying the words Tae Kwon Do, you're speaking Korean. Tae Kwon Do literally translates to hand-foot art, Tae Kwon Do. So it's kind of a cool thing to think about that you're speaking Korean. Even when you don't really even know it, it's still Korean, it's Tae Kwon Do, it's pretty cool. And what makes Tae Kwon Do kind of special is that any school you go to that teaches it is all going to be teaching South Korean. So that you can go to any school and they'll say some terminology like chariot, which means attention. You know that in any school that you go to. That's why we highly emphasize it, and it's also why we teach it too. So it's kind of a nice universal thing. By the time you get to your black belt rank, I don't know how many, I think I learned about close to 30 or 40 different little small phrases. I mean, there's gomam, which means stop, chariot, which I said before is attention, junbi is begin, it never ends, and you keep learning them too. It's kind of neat. Now, each school that you go to, they're just going to establish their own rules as well. The most obvious rule is regarding belts. Some schools I've seen, they've had all the way up to like red belt, purple belt. They've had all these belts. The school that I go to, Kim's Tae Kwon Do, we have the standard white, yellow, green belt, blue tip, blue belt, brown tip, brown belt, black tip, and then you get your black belt. And there's up to 8 degrees that you can get. By the time you're a 4th degree black belt, you're considered a master. And if you do get up to 8th degree, then, well, you stop. That's all the farther you can really go. The instructor that I have, she's a 4th degree, and she is awesome at what she does. I am so proud of her. And I'm so proud to be one of her students, too. And our grandmaster, he is a 7th degree black belt. Then our master of the school, she's a 6th degree. And she's a tough woman. I gotta say that for sure. And most people think after they learn all the belts before they get a black belt, they're like, oh, that's so much work. Well, of course it's a lot of work. Anything that's worthy of being black belt or anything that's good is going to take time to get that way. So whenever I tell people that, oh, it took so long to get your black belt, I don't think I can ever be so dedicated. Well, it took 2 years, and, that really isn't that long a time to get up to a black belt rank. So it's pretty achievable for anybody that thinks they can do Tae Kwon Do, and I really highly recommend it. Another thing I want to touch base on is people who are going to first start Tae Kwon Do. They want to start a class, they want to get involved with it, they think it could be fun, bring the family, bring the kids, and it is very family-based, very kid-friendly as well. I highly recommend that if you do start Tae Kwon Do, that everybody in your family, or if you have a little sibling, cousin, niece, nephew, whatever have it, that they at least be about 8 years old. I have had close to 4-year-olds. I think it was a 3-year-old too in class one time. I don't know if they even talked. They didn't really understand it. So I highly recommend that you're on the older age if you want to pick up on it and get things going. I'm not saying that's difficult, so to speak, but it's a little more challenging to those who are younger, and I think that you definitely need to be at least 8 and older for it. And another thing what you do when you first get into a class, people think, oh, I'm going to be able to flip people over and break bricks with my head and all this cool stuff and do this flying side kick and look what I come at you with my nunchucks and all this stuff. Whew, slow down is what I want to say first. Though that may be kind of cool to be able to do that, it's not what you're going to expect the first class. The first class, you're just going to really learn basic stances, and they're really easy, so I can even teach you them right here. The first stance you learn is called horse stance. Now that stance, your feet are 2 shoulder widths apart, knees are bent, toes are facing forward. This one you would use for, let's say if you wanted to do a nice punch, you have a nice solid stance to go with it. Another stance you might learn is walking stance. That one's a little more difficult to explain, but here we go. It's more like a lunge position, one foot in front of the other, but you don't want to be on the balance beam, so you gotta stagger your feet out. The first leg is gonna be bent. The back leg, that's the one behind you, is gonna be straight. Again, all toes are forward. And the weight distribution for both the walking and the horse stance is 50%, so you're nice and balanced with that one. Then the last stance you would learn, L stance, is kind of the one that you would see in a movie. It's really kind of cool. You feel like a ninja when you do it. At least I do anyways. I love L stance. It's my favorite. L stance, it's kind of hard to explain though. Like I said, one foot's facing forward. The other foot's going to be turned to the side facing the wall. Both knees are bent. You're leaning back a little bit though because you want to be off balance. Let's say you're going to throw a kick. You can't throw a kick if you're standing equally on both feet. You got to lean back a little bit so you can get some height to it. Those are really the three stances, and I just told you them right here, so it's pretty easy. And if you really want to learn more, I highly recommend that you go to a class and you learn more stances. Those are just the three basic ones that you would learn right off the bat if you were to take a class or anything like that. So it's pretty easy. I highly recommend it. And I'm going to get a little advertisey, so bear with me on this one. The school, like I said before, that I attend is Kim's Tae Kwon Do Center Incorporated. It's based right out of Green Bay, and the headquarters are actually in this small little church called Redeemer Lutheran School. It's a tiny little school. I don't know if there's even school there anymore. It's so tiny. But we have classes there. There's, classes every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays from 6:30 to 7, I believe. But that's not the only class. There's classes all the way out in Bellevue, Alloy, Swamico, Conto Falls, obviously Green Bay. The one I go to is in a small town called Chase, and it's at a school called Sunnyside Elementary, from Mondays from 6 to 8. And I think if you were to go to the Redeemer School, I believe they're free. So that makes it even better. But other than that, some classes will range either from $10 all the way up to $20. And it depends on who's teaching it and the quality of that. But other than that, it's super easy to pick up on. I highly recommend it. You can be super cool, kick your friend's butt someday, kick your own butt if you really feel like it. I mean, it's pretty fun. You could even break boards by the end of classes. I've had that before too sometimes. But like I said, when you're starting, don't expect to be able to do some cool flying high side kick right off the bat. It's probably not going to happen. But give it some time. You'll get your way up there. Don't worry about it. Trust me. Activities and social activities that one could use to live a satisfying life. Tune in later for some more hee-haw fun.